Today I'm going to be showing you how I make a bed and how all of my employees should be making the beds. So I have did my first two steps. So you're going to put your fitted sheet, make sure that it does come all the way down to cover, and then you're going to add your flat sheet. Your flat sheet is going to come all the way to the top of the bed, and you're going to want it to be even on both sides if possible. Now, this can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes you will not have enough to tuck both sides of the bed, and so sometimes you'll have it a little bit longer on one side just to get that nice tuck. If you're having an issue with that, my rule is the side, so this side of the bed that is facing the door when you first walk in and see is going to be the side that you try to tuck the best. If you cannot tuck both sides, then you will just let them drape, and then we will go over how to do the corner as well. So now that you have both of your sheets on there, you have your fitted sheet and your top sheet, you're going to add your comforter or whatever blanket you have to go on top. Okay, my comforter is now on top, so you will notice at the top of the bed, you're going to leave a few inches where the fitted sheet is up here and your comforter, blanket, duvet, whatever you have is down here. The reason for that is you're going to fold this over. So this will come over to the edge all the way down. So I'm going to have to walk around and do the other side, and it's going to hang down just like that for now. So now I'm going to go on both sides of the bed, and I'm going to tuck from the top all the way down to the foot of the bed. And it's not too difficult to do this, but I do it on my hands and on my knees because it helps my back when I'm not bending over to do this. However, it's not necessary. You can definitely do this just bending over and standing. I just prefer it this way. You're going to go all the way down to the end. And now you will be at the corner of the end of the bed. So here is the corner. You can see where there's some. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift, take one hand, swoop it out. So that's going to give you a little bit of a nice edge there. And I'm kind of pulling it tight there. Now, this particular style of comforter, it's actually a quilt style, is really nice. These are the easiest to work with because they're flat. You will have comforters that are very bulky, so this next step may not look quite as sharp and as nice as if you have a quilt. However, it's the same process. You just try to make it the best that you can looking. Try to get on any lumps that you can. So the next step is going to be folding your corner. And typically I do both sides all the way down, then I do both my corners, and then I do this, and then I kind of come back and tighten my corners a little bit more. That's just the way that I do it. You can do the bottom first and then the sides. I just find that it untucks the bottom when I do the sides for some reason. You always want to make sure that you have some hanging at the end of the bed to do this tuck. You see there's plenty of left over. What you're going to do is put your hand, wedge it here, and that's going to create this nice, and you can kind of run it down to where it's going to be flat. Hold it tight with one hand, and then you're going to, I'm still holding it right here, you're going to lift the bed and you're going to go under. That's going to give you that nice clean fold. I believe it's called a military fold. And then you're going to do that on the other side. Now, when you do this on the other side, make sure you're going the same direction when you fold, because you can do it the opposite direction. I don't prefer that my people do it this direction, but just make sure you're paying attention when you do your fold, because you could go this way with it and fold under. It's not gonna be, I don't think it's as pretty. Your fold edge will be on the back side of the bed, most people do it facing in. So you don't want to do it facing the back. You can, but it just does not. My employees are taught to do it. If you are my employee and you're watching this, you will be doing it this way. So you're going to pull it towards the front of the bed, not the back of the bed. And you're going to hold it tight and flip it under, just like that. Now with bulky comforters, sometimes you're not going to have this. You're going to have bulges here along the edge. You just kind of smooth it down the best you can, tuck it under the best you can. When you're doing this, bunk beds are specifically harder. I will probably do a video specific to making bunk beds. They are different. They're nobody's favorite, but it's similar. You just have to work around the poles. But with these and bunk beds, you always want to remember, make sure you're not having anything hanging down underneath here, that when you step back, you can see things hanging down. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck the rest of the bed, do my other corner fold, and then I will show how to do the pillowcase fold. With this particular pillow, it is a very thick, bulky pillow. So this fold is not going to be as nice. It's just the last pillow I had to fold of the day. So I'm just going to show you. And with thicker pillows, they probably won't stay. So just forewarning with that. We still try to do it. And then if nothing else, when we set them on the bed, we just kind of fold them down under the pillow. But this is a nicer way for your pillows to be, the ends folded, to be looking nicer while on the bed. So I try to push it in a little bit. You take the top, tuck it underneath the pillow, and again, this one's not going to stay. And then you take the bottom, also tuck it underneath the pillow, so they're both going underneath. So top, bottom, and I do it with two hands. The top part you can just do with one hand, because I usually pull this bottom piece just so it's not getting caught when you're shoving that under there. And then this bottom piece, you usually take two hands, tuck it under the pillow, pull to the sides, and that's going to give you a nice tuck. It's not really easy to see with this pillow because that just came undone. So this is one of the instances where we'll just put it on the bed and kind of make it look decent. So I'm going to put the pillows. Now, when I put pillows on bed, I always put any decorative pillows that are big in the back. Any pillows that have the pillow shams. The shams are the decorative type pillow coverings that are really thick and typically have openings in the middle. Those go in the back because we don't want people to use those, because our linen service does not provide those for this property. So we put these in front so that these are the pillows people grab and use, and those ones are just kind of there as an extra. If they need to use them, fine, but also so that you know, they're just not, they're there for being pretty more than usable. So yeah, most people will just grab whatever pillows in front to use. So that's typically how I do it. I use any of the bigger pillows that are decorative in the back. Front pillows would just be small decorative. If any kind of throw blankets go on the edge of the bed nicely folded, and then we place our towels and washcloths. So I'm going to finish the bed and I will show you the finished product. So here is this particular bed. Make sure when you are doing any of the sheets and pillows and blankets, comforters, that you always put the tags at the bottom and inside. So any tags on sheets and blankets at the bottom of the bed, and any tags or zippers on pillows, you're going to put inside the pillowcase. So it's going to go into the inside, and that way you're not having that fight you in the face in the middle of the night. So here's an example of all three pillow sizes, big, medium, and small, really. So this is an extra. This probably should be folded a little bit better here on the end, but this one is a little more difficult to actually fold. It's a little bit stretchy, it makes it difficult. So here are my corner came a little bit untucked. So all you gotta do is just shove that guy back under there. And you wanna make sure the corner of the blanket's not sticking out. So my sheet was a little short on that side, so typically I'll pull that down and tuck that in. But otherwise, this is the completed way to make a bed professionally. Again, there's multiple ways to do corners and make beds, but these edges just make it look more inviting. The reason that they do have you fold down the sheet, top sheet over the comforter, blanket, pillow, not blanket, comforter, duvet, whatever you have on the bed, honestly is because we don't always wash all of the bedding. So all of the sheets get washed every time, but the actual comforter or whatever on top is not actually washed every time. So you want to make sure you're sleeping between sheets. This is the same for hotels, any kind of short-term rentals, things like that. It is the same across the board. Do I agree with it? Not necessarily. However, we don't really have a say unless we want to sit here and wash and spend all day here washing. And even some of our area, our guests, clientele, whatever you want to call them, they don't have a washer and dryer on site, and we do not have the ability to take these home. So always make sure that you fold your sheet down, and that way the guests know to get underneath that. And that's just something clean that nudges up to your face, So it's kind of a barrier between you and the bedspread. Fun fact for you. So that is why we do that. But otherwise, that is a completed bed. This is how we fold towels. Again, that is something that is different for everybody. So this is more of a training video for my people, but I will post this online for everybody to feel free to use. Have a great one.